Hey guys, so the 7 Wonders of the World list was compiled way too early since there are so many other amazing places in the world besides these architectural wonders like the Grand Canyon and Victoria Falls. But our video isn't about that. Scientists are still racking their brains about how a few places were made naturally. As you saw from the title, we're talking about 10 unusual places in the world that can't be explained by science. Number 10. The sleepy village, Karachay. People in this Kazakh village recently experienced a very strange epidemic. The villagers could fall asleep anywhere, even if they were walking or driving. It seems they were also suffering from memory loss, exhaustion, and hallucinations. Now, amazingly, this phenomenon affected men and women of all ages, and the Kazakh government recommended an evacuation since scientists still can't explain the phenomenon's cause. According to one theory, the villagers are suffering from radiation poisoning. By the way, correct me in the comments. I'm assuming my pronunciation is wrong on this, especially if you live in Kazakhstan. Now, in general, there is a uranium mine not far from the village. Nevertheless, blood analysis disproved this theory that there was no evidence found. And interestingly enough, neighboring villagers aren't suffering from the sleeping disorder, even though they're also close to the mine. Number 9. Teos hum. This low-frequency humming sound source that sometimes can't be found might just drive you crazy. You know, everyone's heard that fuzzy sound when there's a lawnmower in the distance or, the TV isn't working right. And until we find that sound source, it's like our brain is eating us from the inside. It's not really pleasant, is it? Luckily, this doesn't happen often, but imagine how the residents of Taos, New Mexico feel. Since the early 90s, many of the residents have been complaining that they always hear a low-frequency hum all over the city. It drives them crazy. For 20 years, scientists have been trying to figure out the source of this, but unfortunately, no luck yet. Number 8. Namibia's fairy circles. Now, this unusual phenomenon occurs in Namibia in southern Africa. It looks like circles cut into the grass that repeat at a certain interval. They're almost perfect, and their radii varies from 10 to 66 feet. But scientists cannot explain where they come from or why they're circles and not a different shape. And nothing grows inside the circles, so scientists have started theorizing based on that. Nevertheless, nothing has been correct yet. For example, in 2013, ecologist Norbert Jurgens proposed that they were caused by termites, but in 2015, biologist Walter Schinkel did an experiment that disproved that. Number 7. The Boiling River. Deep in the Amazon rainforest, there is a 4-mile-long Shenandoah River. It differs from every other river on the planet by its very high temperature. So much so, any animal that goes into it is boiled alive. First, and I hope you haven't had dinner yet, their eyes melt, and when it's too painful, they can't swim and save themselves, so they drown choking on boiling water. As a result, they are literally boiled. It's brutal. The average temperature of the river reaches 91 degrees Celsius or 196 degrees Fahrenheit. And scientists don't understand this since usually water is this hot when it's near volcanoes. However, the nearest volcano is 435 miles away. So scientists think there's probably a heat source at the river base on a fault line that maybe mixes with the water and warms it up, making it a geothermal system that causes that temperature. Number 6. Hessdalen Lights. Almost every night, residents in Hessdalen, Norway, see a mysterious phenomenon that scientists can't explain. At night, bright, mysterious lights appear in the sky that flicker, change shape, and then just disappear until the next night. Now, scientists have been studying this phenomenon for several decades, and since they first appeared in the 1930s, residents started creating various ideas or theories about it. One says the lights in the sky appear because a lake in the valley is radioactive, and throws radon particles into the atmosphere like bright sparks. Now another says they appear because the land in Hessdalen is full of sulfuric acid. Now what do scientists say? Well, they think the sulfur interacts with water, causing a reaction and then lights in the sky. And they've tried to find a specific reason for such a reaction, but so far to no avail. Number 5. Endless thunderstorm. In western Venezuela, there is a thunderstorm above the Catatumbo River that almost never stops. The storm starts every day at 7 p.m. and continues for 10 hours. It happens every day for 260 days. And no one exactly knows why. Now, one theory says that the lightning is somehow connected to uranium in the surrounding marshes, but scientists, well, they're not convinced about that. They actually think that the Catatumbo lighting occurs as a result of the specific mountain shape that makes warm mountain air meet the cold air from the Andes. Then the wind meets with the quickly evaporating mountain river and the methane from the nearby oil fields, and this is what results in the storm. Nevertheless, it really isn't a definite explanation since the Catatumbo lightning is more mysterious than it seems. For example, once in 2010, the storm inexplicably stopped earlier than normal. And it seemed like it wouldn't come back, but it did, 6 weeks later, and it's happened regularly ever since. Number 4. Moval Cave. In southeastern Romania, there is a cave that was hidden from the sun and the outside world for 5,500,000 years. So the atmosphere in it is very different from the outside. The cave was accidentally found by workers building a power plant there. And when testing the soil, they accidentally found something leading into one of the most mysterious places in the world. Now, if you follow the path going down into a narrow mine, you could end up in a series of tunnels that run into a chamber filled with sulfuric acid. The cave's air is toxic from hydrogen sulfide, and the pollution levels are 1,000 times greater than outside. But the strangest thing is that the cave has its own ecosystem that can survive a sulfuric acid climate. Scientists found 33 new species that are nowhere else inside. They think they survived eating foam that forms in the cave stones. Number 3. Cassorzo Doubletree. In Piedmont, Italy, there's an unusual place where a cherry tree grows. It looks like most other healthy cherry trees, except that it's growing out of a mulberry tree. This phenomenon occurs around the world, actually. Sometimes one tree grows as a parasite on another. Nevertheless, in all cases, the parasitic trees are small, sickly, and quickly die. But this doubletree in Cassorzo has 2 completely healthy trees, each with branches up to 16 feet wide. And no one knows how it happened. Number 2. Lake Karachay. In the USSR, there were many nuclear sites, many of which were dangerous and poorly planned. Outside of one former object is Lake Karachay in Chelyabinsk Oblast. This lake has more radioactive material than anywhere else in the world. It's so dangerous, you could die within an hour of just being nearby. The area around Lake Karachay is even more radioactive than Chernobyl. In 1957, an accident occurred at the nuclear plant, causing an explosion, resulting in radioactive particles being thrown in a radius of 14,291 miles. It was decided to fill the lake in with cement to avoid a catastrophe. Despite that, it's still dangerous, unstable, and contaminated. Number 1. Devil's Kettle Falls. This waterfall, called the Devil's Kettle in Minnesota, is one of the world's most mysterious places. It's interesting because the Brule River splits into 2 streams at a certain spot. Now, one goes to Lake Superior, but the other disappears. Scientists don't understand where the stream ends and where the water goes. They've tried dyeing the water to observe where it goes. It was unsuccessful. The laws of physics say that the water must flow somewhere, even if it's underground. However, it seems those laws don't work here. The cause is unclear. Maybe there's a parallel universe where the water goes. So now it's your turn to let me know. Which place do you think is the most unusual or mysterious? Be sure to let us know in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and also turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next video.